Former Senator and now Attorney General Jeff Sessions, testifying today, has said that they are open to a special counsel and that they are considering doing it. It's also in responses to congressional leaders that have already launched hearings asking, why are we going after Trump when there's no evidence, but then there's complete open and shut cases against the Democrats? Well, I told you Saturday in a special transmission I did here from the studios that the word is a new special counsel is being prepared for Hillary, but also for everybody else involved with Uranium One. That means John Podesta, Tony Podesta, Robert Mueller, the entire list of the Legion of Doom, the normal cast of characters. And now, former Senator and now Attorney General Jeff Sessions, testifying today, has said that they are open to a special counsel and that they are considering doing it. It's also in responses to congressional leaders that have already launched hearings asking, why are we going after Trump when there's no evidence, but then there's complete open and shut cases against the Democrats? Separately, Donald Trump Jr. released his whopping 3 communications with WikiLeaks during the campaign asking for information. I mean, during the campaign, Julian Assange was on CNN. Julian Assange was on Fox News. Julian Assange did New York Times interviews. He doesn't do them now because they just lie and attack him. But by the extension that you're a Russian agent, if you talk to Julian Assange, when there's no evidence that Julian Assange is a Russian agent, it's just crazy. It's absolutely amazing, but they're back at it. There have been hundreds of news articles the last week by fake news outlets like the Washington Post, owned by Jeff Bezos, who's anti-free speech monopoly man, going, we need to have Drudge Report shut down. He linked to Infowars. And Infowars links to Russian news. That's total mental illness. Then, of course, we did an analysis of it on average. It's an average month. Drudge links to those sites 10 times more than Infowars or Breitbart. So he links to the New York Times and Washington Post. Does that mean he works for the New York Times or the Washington Post? It's just next level, ladies and gentlemen. And they did analysis showing how much he links to Infowars versus how much he links to RT or Sputnik, but then they don't show you how much they're linking to other mainstream, so-called mainstream news, establishment news. But as you can see, the traffic is way, 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 way above the amount of Washington Post traffic that Infowars would get is 10 times or more. We show up at what? About 15% right there, and they're up at 400%. So do the math. If we're at 15%, they're 400%. I guess that's way more than 10 times. I was just eyeballing it. What's the percentage? If I'm at 15% or 20%, let's say 20 is a peak, and they're at 400% the links. Do we have a calculator? It's way more than 10 times. 20 times. 20 times? 20 times. So, excuse me, it's 20 times. And the response that Drudge gets for literally flooding Jeff Bezos with money and traffic is, we want to shut you down. You're a Russian agent. They have all these other articles saying there's a Federal Elections Commission investigation and a Federal Trade Commission investigation. And Drudge then tweets out that he's responsible for 37% of their traffic. And how do they respond? Urinating directly in his face and calling for his arrest. That is the entitled SJW arrogance of a man worth $100 billion. In one company, Jeff Bezos, with the Washington Post, hell-bent on shutting down free speech in America. And he even got $500 million this year in CIA money, one of the last things Obama did to run propaganda. I mean, he even gets taxpayer money, that pig.
What the aging process is when the cell replicates, we lose a little bit of our telomeres. Telomeres are the little cups on the end of our chromosomes.
And when it runs out, you start dying.
Secure your DNA force today at InfoWarsLife.com.